Hello, beloveds. Welcome to another poetry reading. This time is a return to translated poems after a spell of Americans, for lack of a better term. This is an aside, I really do wish there was an easier term to denote United Statesians than Americans, because I do feel horrifically US-centric when I think about the broader context of the entire South American continent, Central America, but nevertheless, you didn't come here for my ramblings on geopolitical nightmares, and instead you came for this poem by Chinese poet Chuan, translated by Lucas Klein. Don't deprive me of my complexity. Don't deprive me from the right, and don't deprive me from the left. Don't deprive me for my own good, and don't deprive me for anything better. Deprive me, and I'll scream it hurts, and that's a good thing. If you deprive a flower of its complexity, it will die. If you deprive a grave of its complexity by, for example, removing a clay brick, it will collapse, suffocating you in someone else's grave. I may seem simple, but I'm complex, the way a mosquito is more complex than deep blue. Elephants understand this logic, and so they never deny the complexity of mosquitoes, even if this means they have to listen to the dirty stories those insects buzz in their ears. Dirty mosquitoes are as complex as intellectuals, so they take the stance, perhaps real, perhaps fake, of independent intellectuals, which is complex enough on its own. Although the lifespan of mosquitoes is short, they're part of nature. Just try to get rid of them. If you want to deny the dignity of nature, just try. Nature retains dignity by retaining complexity, same as me. So don't pluck my feathers, don't change my calendar, and don't tear up my diary. I was born in the revolutionary year of 1963. Don't deprive me like some idiot who can only say no. I barely made it through the 1980s with my life intact. Don't deprive me like some idiot who can't say no. And don't deprive me like a hero. And don't assume the hero always stands with the depriver, or always against the depriver. Don't assume the hero isn't complex, just as the average person may be complex. When you want reality, I'll give you fiction. When you want a virtual you, I'll nail both your feet to the ground. I turned into 5 of me in 1992. The bitter me, the suspicious me, the uncertain me, the me who laughs out loud, and the me who navigates the cold and turbulent river of history. So in 2011, I became determined that those who divide the world into black and white are just obtuse. Even a black and white camera can accommodate gray, not to mention someone like me, who can make out the 100,000 mighty colors of autumn. When the rooster doesn't crow, I crow. Don't deprive me like a rooster. And don't assume that by depriving me, you can deprive a rooster of its complexity. Don't deprive me of my complexity so you can deprive a rooster of its complexity. I am complex because all the birds and beasts around me are complex. I am complex, but right now I'm tired and would like to shut up for a while. I'm shutting up, but I'm still complex. And here this poem ends. This poem is from the book Bloom and Other Poems Chuan's work. He is a fantastically prolific poet in his own accord, and also is an extremely outspoken voice in like the absurdist, surrealist movements in contemporary Chinese poetry, editor and like literary culture creator and organizer in his own right. When I was reading through this collection, it was something of a kind of beautiful reminder that a poem can be just as much of a proclamation as it is a reflection, as it is a pondering, as it is a question, as it is an observation. And I think what I loved about this poem in its own right is it kind of very playfully accomplishes all of those. The poem with the conceit of "don't deprive me of my complexity," which is such a wonderful and standalone line reminiscent of like 80s, 90s like pop ballads. I think it's just so fun where he takes this line, all of the directions that he pulls it in, and all of the different archetypes, nuances, and scenarios in which deprivation and complexity are both complicated. If that style, if that kind of humor in poetry appeals to you, I would highly recommend it. This is from the press New Directions. Again, Bloom and Other Poems, Chuan, translated by Lucas Klein. Thank you so much for being here, for listening, and I hope this poem brought you your own reclamation of something deprived. Take care. Bye-bye.